what are the most painful legal mistakes you see franchisors making?
My opinion, they're not ready.
What do you mean?
Mandatory requirements is usually not followed. These mandatory requirements are important.
How exactly does someone accidentally think they are a franchise?
Number one, we are talking about the granting of the rights. Number two, granting the rights to use the intellectual property. The third element is a system of control by the licensor or the franchisor towards the franchisee or the licensee. The fourth element will be consideration, money. Now, if you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, you are automatically a franchise.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. This is the Financial Coconut Business Show at KLCC. We are at Franchise International Malaysia. Right now, we are on a very serious but important topic, the legalities of franchising. The last thing we want is for you to operate a wonderful franchise and have it be declared illegal, right? So I'm joined by a wonderful lawyer. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Damien. Damien Yo Shen Lee. I'm actually a lawyer by profession, 25 years in the business. On top of that, I'm also a franchise consultant. When I say franchise consultant, meaning registered franchise consultant under the ministry. That was since 2023. And the reason why we have this registration, this franchise consultant registered, was because only recently the government wants franchise consultants to be registered. Before that, they were not registered.
So it's a bit like the financial advisor situation. Last time
Correct.
anyone can, now you give any
Correct.
advice, enjoy your fine.
Yes, that's correct.
I see. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. So, the legalities of franchising. So I think a lot of businesses here started maybe in licensing, then pivoted to franchising, or they offer both. Can you tell us about these nuances?
Firstly, we have to understand in Malaysia, we are governed under the Franchise Act 1998. So the Franchise Act 1998, I mean, we are talking about a law that was enacted by Parliament. Therefore, it is a law. That's all. The franchise business is somewhat regulated. So when I say regulated, means it has to be registered, and the registration is basically under Section 6 for franchisor to be registered. Then subsequently, over time, but at the end of the day, a lot of people just do not understand that, and you see a lot of businesses coming up and selling businesses, thinking and telling the world that they are a franchise, but they are not a franchise. So that's where the issues will come.
How exactly does someone accidentally think they are a franchise?
All right. Now, when we talk about franchising, all right, it simply means there must be what we call as the elements of franchise. In all business, there are elements of franchise. Example, number one, there are 4 elements in franchising under Section 4 of the Franchise Act. Number one, we are talking about the granting of the rights. Number two, not just the granting of the rights, but granting the rights to use the intellectual property, the trademarks, the confidentiality, the trade secrets. Then the third element is there must be continuous control. All right, controlling, for example, such as an operation system, an SOP. So that is a system of control by the licensor or the franchisor towards the franchisee or the licensee. And the last one, the fourth element, in return of 1, 2, 3, the first element, second element, and the third element, the fourth element will be consideration, money. Like, for example, a royalty, promotion fee, advertisement fee, management fee, so on and so forth, including the words license fee or franchise fee. So if you have that 1, 2, 3, and 4, again, the granting of the rights to use the intellectual property. The third one is continuous control. And the fourth one, the element of consideration of money. Now, if you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, you are automatically a franchise. Unfortunately, if you don't register your franchise, it becomes illegal and unlawful. Now, what about businesses that come into the country and then they say that, oh, I am a franchise? That's wrong. You cannot use the word franchise because Section 37A literally said you cannot use the word franchise in any businesses. until and unless you register or get approval from the ministry.
Isn't this a bit counter to what you just said? You do those 4 things,
Yes.
you are automatically a franchise, but yet you cannot say you are a franchise.
Correct. You cannot say.
So what is this going? Yeah.
You cannot say that you are a franchise because you have not registered yourself as a franchise under the ministry under Section 6. Because if you do not register, then the court will declare whatever arrangement to be illegal and unlawful.
Right.
So that's the whole issue.
And then the 4 things one is basically you are automatically a franchise, but you are an illegal
Because
franchise.
of lacking registration.
I see. Let's just talk quickly. What are the consequences of being an illegal franchise?
Okay, example, yeah. Now let's say you are having a business. All right, you're doing an F&B businesses or you are doing some other businesses somewhere, and then subsequently at the end of the day, you want to sell your business as a franchise, right? And you tell the world that I am a franchise, but you are not a franchise. Now, let me ask you this question. Remember the 4 elements again? Now, every business will have what we call as a granting of rights. Why? You grant the rights to people. You're granting the rights to do business. So that's the first element, right? I said just now. The second one is granting the rights to use some form of confidentiality or trade secrets, right? So all businesses will definitely have some form of confidentiality, trade secrets, especially a trademark. Then the third one is a control. So definitely you want some form of control. If you are a licensor or you are a franchisor, you want to control a business. That's why you have operation manuals. And on top of that, in every businesses here will also have money. License fee or franchise fee or consideration, promotion fee, training fee, management fee, all sorts of name. But if you don't have all these 4, then what happened? So if you don't have that 4, then you come into a very serious case of the court can declare the arrangement between the licensor and the licensee to become illegal as a result of not having these 4.
Okay. So this is you are not a franchise.
Yes.
What
because
if-
you're not a registered franchise. Yeah.
Yeah. But what if the situation is that you meet the 4, but you are not registered? What is the consequence for this?
It's still illegal and unlawful.
But what happens? What does the court do? What happens in Malaysia?
Okay, example. There are already precedents in the High Court, Court of Appeal, as well as the Federal Court. They have already declared, and the court is not really bothered with the labels, you know. Example, you can have a master license agreement, or you can have a distributorship agreement, or you can have a partnership agreement or a joint venture agreement. The court is not concerned with label. The court is concerned with the contents in the information in the agreement, the 4 corners of the agreement. You see, the court is not going to look at the contract and say, this is not a franchise agreement because it is stated as a license agreement. The court is not bothered. The court have already decided now in the event, if the contents in itself have that 4 elements stated in the agreement, then I'm so sorry, the agreements become unlawful, cannot be used at all.
But let's talk pain a little bit. Like, what happens to the operators of these unlawful businesses? Do the directors get into a world of pain or?
You see, at the end of the day, it's all about, put it this way, in a marriage, when everything is rosy, or there's a lot of love, that is fine. But what happens if there is a divorce? What happens if there is a termination? And because the licensee basically said there is no support. There is no support or assistance from the licensor. So what happened next? Then probably they will take legal action. They said, my ROI, what happened to the representation that you have represented? You said that the ROI will be 18 months. But I cannot reach 18 months. And it's 2 years. 3 years and I'm losing. So these are the representation. So what happened to the representation? So it becomes a misrepresentation. So you go to court, you file an action. That is why I say in good times, when everybody is happy, no action will be taken. But what happened if the representation that you make becomes a misrepresentation? Where do you go? You go to court and you probably ask for restitution to claim back whatever money that you want to claim.
Right.
For example, the franchise fee or the license fee costs about, say, 500,000. I lost everything. I put up all my business, my EPF money, my whatever money into the investment, and it turns out to be the whole thing becomes illegal and unlawful. So what about the licensee? So what is the remedy given to this licensee now at the end of the day?
So this is the licensee will fight for this, right?
Yeah.
But because it is unlawful by the laws of Malaysia, would it ever be a situation where Malaysia itself will come against you in a criminal way?
Yes, it is.
So what is the pain here? Yeah.
Yeah, but because at the end of the day, if you read the act, all right, maybe I will just quote some of the act.
Sure.
All right.
He's busting out the book.
Yes, the book. All right. Now, you have Section 6. It's stated very clearly. Let me just read Section 6. It's stated here on registration of franchisor. A franchisor or a foreign person who has obtained an approval to sell a franchise in Malaysia or to any Malaysian citizen under Section 54 shall register his franchise with the registrar before he can operate a franchise business or make an offer to sell. So not only doing business, but make an offer to sell.
Right.
Now, it's stated here, any franchisor or foreign person who fails to comply with this section unless exempted commits an offense.
A criminal?
A criminal wrong.
Right.
You see. So just imagine if you are not a registered franchise and you have the element of franchise, you are committing an offense. Okay, then you will always ask me, so what is the sentence like? It's stated here, if such body is a body corporate, means a company, not a fine not exceeding 250,000 ringgit, and for a second or subsequent offense, to a fine not exceeding 500,000 ringgit. Or if such person is not a body corporate, means an individual. So it's stated here, not exceeding 100,000 ringgit, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 1 year, or to both. Second and subsequent offense, to a fine not exceeding 250,000 ringgit, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years. It's worse than drugs.
So you've been franchising to a few people.
Yeah.
You are in the second category, right, of the...
Correct. Now, what happens if there is a class action?
What is that?
Class action means you have 20 licensees suing a licensor.
Oh.
What happened?
What? You tell me, Mr. Lawyer, what happens?
What happened? There you are. You commit an offense. So these are the difficulties that is happening. And of course, we are here to hope to educate public, to see the seriousness of the case in itself.
I want to talk about the proper ways after this. But before that, when you talk about the four things, there are some similarities to licensing, no? So tell me what makes something a proper licensing agreement and what makes something a proper franchising agreement.
Okay, a licensing situation is usually a one-off kind of fee, right? Like for example, Nike, all right, or Adidas, they don't have a franchise, so to speak. They are not in a franchise. So it is more of a license of a brand. So you license a brand. Now, example, how do you license a brand? Let's say you are the owner of the intellectual property. You are the owner of the trademarks, right? Now, the law here says that under the Trademarks Act 2019, it literally says that you can actually appoint a licensee. All right? You appoint a licensee, so you put that person into the registration system under MyEPO, that is the trademark office, and then voila, he becomes a licensee of that particular brand, right? So it's easier then. Now, remember we talked about the four elements just now.
Yeah.
Right? So the question is, how do we come out from that four elements? At the end of the day, it's always about, when you talk about franchise, it's always about controlling. Now, I remember there are quite a number of ayam tonggeng or ayam kepo or something like that. I can't remember those names. Where you have it in many in the pasar malam and all that. Now, some of these businesses, they literally said, you can use my brand, but how you want to cook, I leave it to you lah. In that type of situation. So that is a licensing situation because there is no control. I don't care how big the chicken is gonna be. I do not know how much chili sauce or whatnot that you're gonna put. I don't care. You just give me money, a license fee,
right,
for using the brand. Say Ayam Gepo Damien, for example. But I'm not controlling you. You can buy any chicken you want. You can go to anywhere you want. Do it at the end of the day. It's yours. But you just pay me, maybe on annually or maybe 3 years or 2 years once, in that kind of idea. So it's a very loose relationship. That is a licensing situation. Another way, you have the four elements, right? Take out one of them. Because the law said, Section 4 said, you must have these four elements in order for you to be a franchise. So you're worried, you're scared. Take away one, any one of them. Granting of the rights, take away, all right? Either one, maybe money, promotion fee. No need to pay me anything. You
Take
get what
my
I mean?
everything for free.
Correct. Setting up costs, do it yourself. But I'm granting you the rights. I'm granting you the rights to use the trademark or the confidentiality, the trade secrets and everything else. The third one, I control you. I control quality. But you no need to pay me anything. You no need to pay me the setting up costs. But you must follow my design. You no need to pay me franchise fee or license fee. I don't want your license fee. In that type of situation, yes. No training fee, but I will train you. But because of quality, because of control, you buy my chicken. You buy my product.
So that's fine. If I have all of that, you don't pay me any fee, but you buy my materials.
Because I want that type of chicken, for example.
So that is okay. That's how you still
That's
earn
fine.
money.
Yeah, that's fine.
I get it.
Right? But no franchise fee, no license fee, no promotion fee, no advertisement fee, no nothing. But because I want control, product, you buy my product. You buy the coffee, the mixture, you buy the recipe. That's fine. All right, that's fine.
So let's talk about, I know there are many budding entrepreneurs here in this hall itself, right? So for those who are considering whether should I license my wonderful brand or should I franchise it, which one, how should they evaluate which one is better for me at this point in time?
Now, let's look at the more important thing here, right? Because you said, yeah, we are here in this exhibition, but you're also afraid. You're not sure whether is this a good thing, right? I would suggest viewers to do this. Open up Google, go into MyFacts, MyFex 2.0. Again, MyFacts 2.0. Check whether the brands here are registered franchise or not. Check whether Damien is a registered franchise. DAMIAN. Then there is this clause, there is this part that says Charian. Click on it and it will come out to say Damien is not a registered franchise. So that's how you check on whether that franchise is registered in Malaysia or not.
So that is from the point of the franchisee. If they want to get into a legal, good standing
Not
brand.
really that, because number one, we do not know whether they may have lots of branches. You see them, you get excited. But at the end of the day, what about the issues, the representation that they make? Sometimes when they go to their place, they say, my ROI is 18 months. But how do we know? Now, the law also allowed us to do discovery, all right? That's section 56, whereby you do a discovery. You write to the registrar of franchise. That's where you are allowed to look at their documents per se, because it's a public document. Another method will be, let's say go to US Pizza or any of these places, Manhattan Fish, so on and so forth. Now, they are a registered franchise. You go there, you ask them, look, I am interested in becoming your franchisee. Then what do? Now, the law says, this is what the law says. Section 15 said that before you sign the franchise agreement, they will have to give to you documents that they have filed for registration. 10 days, the law said, 10 days before you sign the franchise agreement. So the moment, meaning, why do we have that? For one very simple reason, you can appoint a lawyer to do due diligence on that particular franchise. Because it's a mandatory requirement. Before you sign a before you enter into a franchise, ask for them, I want to look at your franchise agreement. I want to look at your franchise disclosure document. I want to look at your operation manual. I want to look at your training manual. Because I'm allowed to do that under Section 15. Of course, the franchisors will be afraid. What happens if I give to you and then you copy? My suggestion to the franchisors will be put up a letter of offer, okay? And in the letter of offer, attach guarantees that I will not copy those confidential information. I will not take those documents to do similar business. Now, all that are protected. Why? Because Section 26 and Section 27 say so. Now, maybe I will just read Section 26. Now, on confidential information. Now, a franchisee shall give written guarantee to the franchisor that the franchisee, including its director, spouse, and immediate family of the directors and his employee. So meaning, because we are always worried, franchisors are always worried to share information or share documents. So what do? They say that, what happens if I give to you this document and then you copy those documents? I mean, we all know copy is right lah. So at the end of the day, when they copy it, you're afraid. So you want them to sign a written guarantee. Now, The law said if you don't sign the written guarantee, it is an offense under the law as well. So I'm not worried if you want to steal my confidential information or you want to take my confidential information and open up a similar business. Because when you do that, then the enforcement officers will go after you after a complaint. And you breach Section 26 and you breach Section 27.
Was it about spouse and everything? Was it about...
Correct. You see, the law said, literally, director of the franchisee, right? Not only the directors, their spouse and immediate family members
the one
will have to sign. Correct. Yeah. And not only that, the employee as well. You see, so in other words, that's how then because it's a written guarantee. And that written guarantee, if you don't sign or you fail to sign or you don't wish to sign, you commit an offense. Because you already accept confidential information. You already accept trade secrets. So that is very protective towards the system.
So we talked about from the franchisee standpoint. I want to talk about the potential franchisor standpoint. I have built this wonderful Ayam Gepuk brand, Damien. Yes, I built Damien brand, right? Yeah. And I'm thinking now, I want more people to come and champion my brand. I want to grow. So I want to evaluate, should I license it? Should I franchise it? How should people evaluate which is best for them at that point in time?
If you talk about F&B, it's all about the food. If your chicken is good, if your coffee is good, sometimes you tell yourself, look, maybe it's the right time for me to franchise. But then again, I think there are a few things you need to consider. First things first, at least a minimum of 3 years. That is not the requirement of the law, but it is a requirement of the registrar for you to actually have at least a minimum of 3 years in the business. Now, in the event of the 3 years, let's say when you have, let's say 3 years, of course, in your mind, you say that you want to enter into a business, you want to franchise your business because people probably say that you are good, right? But then again, there is a second question, which we always ask. Will you be able to support or to assist if suddenly you grow from 1 branch to 20 branches? Will you be able to withstand the pressure of the business per se? Now, we don't want a situation whereby you open a fried chicken shop, but you can't support in the sense of the raw material. I mean, you open a chicken shop, but you don't have chicken to sell. That will be an issue of course, your business capability, right? Not only that, there are many, many things to consider. What about the issue of your chain, your supply, besides your raw material, right? There are so many other things to actually consider before you actually tell yourself, look, I want to franchise my business. So it's not just the law, but I think your practice, prudence, business necessity, so on and so forth. There's so many to literally to decide.
But in general, if I want to expand and I'm considering between licensing and franchising, how would I know which one is better for me?
If you have your 3 years and you have your strength, franchise will always be the route, not licensing. Why? Just now we talked about all those loopholes, those situations that happen, the illegal and unlawful business. I don't want to go there. I don't want to start a business with a litigation. I don't want to go to court.
Yes, very painful, very painful. Okay, let's finally get to it now, the solution. I want to be a franchisor.
Yeah.
How do I do this?
Again, very simple, registration. Now, but before you go into registration, I think it's so important to identify, number one, what is your operation manual. I think you got to determine your operation manual. You got to also determine your training manual, the information that you put. Then why is it that you have 3 years? Because there's always trial and error. You got to correct various manuals before you actually put up in the registration system. Then, of course, appoint a lawyer, get a franchise agreement done, get your franchise disclosure documents up. Now, it's so pertinent and important to at least get a prototype outlet up, because from the prototype outlet, you are able to determine. And when we talk about prototype outlet, I always advise my client, don't get just one. Get maybe, let's say, 2 prototypes. One in the rural probably, or one somewhere in the urban, for example, or one somewhere where you have a more older generation, or a place like in somewhere around the kampongs, for example. Why? Because you need to determine the strength. You need to determine at least a 6 months management account to see the ongoing business and how the business is going to thrive.
To be clear, these are still under you. You're not franchising yet, right? The prototypes.
Correct. Because once you get all this done, all these things done up, what will happen is the registrar will literally request all those documents. Now, again, the book.
How about we tell everybody the title of the book? Okay, let's show the camera that. What's the title of this book before you quote it?
Anyway, this is the franchise code. All right, it's a franchise code. It's endorsed by the Malaysian Franchise Association.
Written by none other than Mr. Damien right here.
Yeah, it's pretty much comprehensive because in the book, I literally spell out, I will have about 25 chapters from the introduction, the beginning and all that, right up to the Malaysian context, the act in itself, the franchise agreement, the disclosure document, the operation manual, the training manual, the whole works.
And you wanted to quote the book? Yes.
Yeah, section 7. All right. This is one of those very important sections because section 7 talks about application for registration. All right. Stated here, a franchisor shall make an application to register his franchise by submitting to the registrar the application in such form as may be determined by the registrar. A complete disclosure document with the necessary particulars filled in. B, a sample of the franchise agreement. C, an operation manual. D, training manual. E, a copy of the latest audited financial accounts, financial statements and reports, if any, the auditors and directors of the applicant. And F, this is a danger, any such other additional information or document as may be required by the registrar for the purpose of determining the applicants. What else? Means many other things. Example, bankruptcy search, trademark certificates, right? Now, if you are selling maybe an F&B business, your halal certificate, for example, right? If you're doing education, approval by the Ministry of Education, certificates, so on and so forth. So there are probably many other documents. Just now I did mention about prototype. Now, literally, the registrar will request a prototype. Not only a prototype, but a management account. So same thing, when you look at the act just now, it's only 4 things, right? Your franchise agreement, disclosure document, operation manual, training manual. But what about the rest? So that's why sometimes when you apply, there'll be query by the registrar. And the registrar will ask you, do you have this document? Do you have that document? So be ready before you file your documents to the franchise registrar.
How long does registration usually take, and what is the support that potential franchisors can get to finance all of these things?
Right. Now, generally, when we talk about a franchise application, in my experience, of course, each and every franchise consultants, they probably have their own timeline. But in my situation, usually what happens is there will be a reply within 14 days to a month after you submit an application. So this is what you do. You submit an application, then within 14 to 21 days, there'll be an inquiry. And usually there'll be queries. So what you do is, that query, you must settle within 30 days or so, right? If you don't settle, then of course it will take time. So with that query, you will have, say queries by the registrar. Please submit the prototype. Then you submit your prototype. Then subsequent, after the queries, it will take probably about a month or so, maybe 2 months to get your franchise certificate out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty fast, pretty efficient.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm thinking about this. Maybe lawyer fees aren't cheap. Is there support for this?
Oh no.
Have I asked you a trap question?
No. Now, the way I look at it is like this, That is why, to be very honest, there is a lot of, there are professionals, there are consultants everywhere. All right. Of course, some cheap and some expensive. I must admit, mine is a little bit expensive. All right. But in terms of grants, I believe there is not so much of a grant, but financing assistance. For example, I think Pernas is giving financing assistance in such manner. And I believe also there are other SME corporation, SME banks and all that. They do provide, but of course with the necessary collaterals.
Got it. So let's talk about what might be very pertinent to our viewers here and also the people around the hall, right?
Yeah.
So what, in your opinion, you've clearly been in the industry for a long time. Let's start with franchisor first. What are the most common and painful legal mistakes you see franchisors making?
My opinion, they're not ready.
What do you mean?
support and assistance. And of course, in terms of documentation, mandatory requirements is usually not followed. So of course, I will advise franchisors, please take note, these mandatory requirements are important. Especially the 10 days delivering of documents, before the signing of the franchise agreement. So this is one of the, I believe many franchisors are not doing that for now. But of course, it's a learning curve.
I
and
see.
all of us are all learning, these things. Yeah.
Now let's flip it to the other side. So what are the most common and painful legal mistakes franchisees make?
Franchisee sometimes rushing into the business. When we talk about trying to, that is why I said earlier, there is a lot of due diligence required. But probably there is a lot of over belief in the representation made by the franchisors, and then they jump into the investment. So seen that many times.
Okay, so I know that Malaysia is quite proud about the Franchise Act, right? Are we the first in all of Southeast Asia or something to have this? And how does it make a difference?
I believe not only Malaysia, many countries are moving into it, but we are considered one of the first few countries that actually talks about registration system. Of course, we have Brazil, we have Korea. There are also registration system. Indonesia is moving into registration as well. And even though they have their own legislation on it, yes. And I believe many countries are also following Malaysia's footstep in moving towards a registration system.
So the final part, I want you to promote your book.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if there is one key point people should take away from your book, what is it?
Now, in my book, chapter 17 and chapter 18, all right, chapter 17 is for franchisor and chapter 18 is for franchisee. Please read the franchise code because it talks about not only development of the franchise, but at the same time, how do you sustain a franchise? Right? So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And if people want to get your book, where can they get it?
You can come to my booth today, or you can go to Popular, MPH, Kino, and in various places probably.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Damien. This has been a really, really fun session. Let's look at that camera. Thank you, everyone. Let us wave goodbye. See you tomorrow.